2002, South Korea. A man named Na is attending court for the murder of his wife's brother. The judge slams his hammer. A verdict has been reached. The defendant, guilty, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Na had been reckless with this murder. Choosing to kill someone in your extended family is not the wisest choice for a murderer. Na had foolishly slipped up. However, new information hints that he wasn't always this ignorant. In the past decade, Na has come under suspicion for the unsolved disappearances of both 8-year-old Kim Sung-ju and 7-year-old Kim Ha-eun. The only thing stopping authorities from tying Na to these supposed murders is a piece of lost media seemingly impossible to find. Let's jump back to the very beginning. (2000) Dong Elementary School. A young girl named Kim Sung-ju had just been released early from class around 2 p.m. Like any other ordinary day, she begins her walk to the nearby gas station where she waits for her older brother to get out of class. Around 40 minutes pass, and peers observe Kim Sung-ju standing normally outside of the gas station, still waiting for her brother. As she continues to wait for him, she spots 3 suspicious-looking men walking towards her. At 3:10 p.m., witnesses claim to have seen these 3 men talking to Kim Sung-ju, and shortly after, they take her in their car and start driving in the opposite direction of her home. When Kim Sung-ju's brother finally arrives at the gas station to meet up with his sister, she is nowhere to be found. This then prompts him to rush home and alert his parents of her disappearance. For the rest of this day, Kim Sung-ju does not show. Her parents are worried sick. However, all they can do is wait for updates from authorities. On the morning of June 16th, Kim Sung-ju's parents, who had been awake all night waiting for updates, received a phone call. Assuming it was the police, they go to pick it up. Yet, no one responds. Not a single noise comes from the other end. Complete silence. This was not the police, and to this day, the caller has never been identified. Shaken up by what had just happened, Kim Sung-ju's father goes outside for a moment of peace. Upon exiting his home, he spots a strange car parked in front of his driveway. In desperation, he rushes over to confront the driver. But before he could even get remotely close, the car speeds away. The driver of this vehicle has also never been identified. However, it is widely believed that the caller and the person in the vehicle are one of the same. Despite authorities trying their best to locate 8-year-old Kim Sung-ju via handing out leaflets, examining hours and hours of street footage, and commencing in house-to-house searches, she still remains a missing person to this day. Since the tragic disappearance of Kim Sung-ju, it has almost been exactly a year, and a 7-year-old girl named Kim Ha-eun is walking home with her friend after attending class at Dong Elementary School. Upon reaching her friend's home, the two separate ways, and Kim Ha-eun keeps walking down the street to her house approximately 3 minutes away. Before separating, Kim Ha-eun's friend observes nothing out of the ordinary. Kim Ha-eun was acting as she would if it were any other day. After this moment, however, this is the last anyone would ever see of her. Kim Ha-eun's parents, extremely worried that their daughter had not returned home, began to panic and make a phone call to 911. In the days that followed her disappearance, police questioned over 721 students, inquiring about Kim Ha-eun's whereabouts. In addition to this, they also interviewed all the residents along the route Kim Ha-eun would take home from school each day. However, not a single person would have any helpful information regarding the disappearance. The police had absolutely no leads to investigate, and despite all their efforts, this case grew cold. At this point, 2 months have gone by, and out of the blue, a post is made from a public computer room in Suncheon City, which is approximately 40 miles away from Gangjin-gun, the place where the disappearance occurred. The poster claims to have seen someone who resembled Kim Ha-eun and states that she was accompanied by 2 unidentified males. Instantly, police tried tracking down the individual who made this post, seeming as this individual could play a vital role in finding the missing girl. However, their attempts in reaching out to this person were not fruitful. This is most likely due to the fact that the post was made from a computer inside of a computer lab. This was the only direct lead that would ever arise from Kim Ha-eun's disappearance, and to this day, this case is still unsolved. Sometimes we get stuck in the same negative patterns, and no matter how hard we try, it feels impossible to break out of them. For me, it hit after spending months buried in dark, unsettling stories for my video essays. The more I wrote, the more it started to bleed into my head. That's when I realized it wasn't about willpower. It was about getting the right support. This is where today's sponsor comes in. BetterHelp makes starting therapy easier. They'll connect you with a licensed therapist who's trained to listen and give helpful, unbiased advice. Just fill out a short questionnaire and you can be matched in a couple of days. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime at no extra cost. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. So if you're thinking about therapy, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/unrealaired to get a 10% discount off your first month. The 2 cases I have just told you about are much more intertwined than you may think. Both the disappearance of Kim Sung-ju and Kim Ha-eun happened in the city of Gangjin-gun, and interestingly enough, both of them occurred in the month of June. This, coupled with the more similarities in these cases, led cops to believe that the same person was behind both disappearances. Their only problem? Who were they? Since the disappearances back in 2000 and 2001, only one person has ever come under suspicion. That person being a man named Na. As you are well aware already, Na would be sent to prison in 2002, shortly after the disappearances, for murdering his wife's brother. So, to suspect his involvement with these two girls would not be a far stretch. What initially raised suspicion around Na was the reasoning behind why he killed his wife's brother. The reason he killed him had to do with a VHS tape Na's wife found in his room that depicted Na beating a young girl who was chained up in a dark room. Na's wife claimed that the girl in the video matched the exact description of missing Kim Ha-eun. With this information, police decide to search Na's home for the VHS tape. They scanned each room intently, looking in every crook and cranny. But despite their valiant efforts, to their dismay, it was nowhere to be found. Even worse for them, due to Na's wife's intellectual disability, her claims could not be used as testimony because it would be labeled as coercion. At the time, police did have suspicions that this VHS tape might not even exist, but considering the disappearance of Kim Ha-eun and how, without being aware of the missing girl, Na's wife described her in perfect detail, did not take this lead off the table for them. Shortly after this was brought to light, a man named Min-soo came forward with some interesting information. Min-soo claimed that at the time of Kim Ha-eun's disappearance, he was her classmate. He stated that Na was a familiar face to many of his peers, and even recounts the time where Na lured him back to his house and sexually assaulted him in his living room. Additionally, he stated that this act took place in a yellow room, which was the same exact description Na's wife gave in regards to where the VHS recording took place. Unfortunately though, without any hard evidence, police could not use these testimonies to prosecute Na for these disappearances. This is most likely due to the fact that Min-soo could be recalling some of these details incorrectly, given that it happened so long ago, and this crime in itself has never been proven to have taken place. Despite all these suspicions alluding to Na's guiltiness, for the next 23 years, against all police efforts, this case would remain dormant. And that's where it resides today. This piece of lost media plays such an immense role in the disappearances of these two girls, and an even bigger role in finding out who the perpetrator of these abhorrent crimes is. Without this, we are left in the dark, left to question what happened to poor Kim Sung-ju at that gas station. We are also left to question what happened to Kim Ha-eun after her and her friend went separate ways. And most crucially, we are left to wonder who made that phone call, who was inside that car, who was the perpetrator. Having a definite conclusion to these answers looks very grim. It most likely won't happen, no matter how much traction this case receives and how much interest people have for it. This VHS tape was lost over 2 decades ago. So, this case's fate has basically been sealed, cementing it as one of the most haunting cases we have ever and will ever see.